ooh, it makes me hurt just looking at it. After that one, gross.
Seth Brunner, ER physician.
My name is Julie Fridlington. I've been in practice for 5.5 years.
My name is Holly. I've been an ICU nurse for the past 23 years.
Home Alone is one of my favorite childhood movies.
Probably last watched it with my dad, who is a hilarious old man that thinks Home Alone is like the greatest movie ever made.
Be a good little fella now and open the door.
If you get shot in the groin with a BB gun, you're gonna have some serious genital trauma.
Maybe even a rupture there, which may affect the swimmers down the line.
I don't know what treatment is for a ruptured nutsack. Bed rest, ice, a bag of peas.
All right. Daniel Stern. Oh, classic fall down the stairs. This is why I can't watch action movies anymore. You don't get up from a fall like that.
Concentrated a lot of his damage or injuries to the lower thoracic and lower lumbar. He could have issues with bladder control at that point.
Busted ribs, pulmonary contusion, splenic laceration, kidney injuries.
Peeing and pooping from bags, pushed around in wheelchairs in some sort of chronic care facility. I've actually never seen skin smoke like that.
Like he puts it in the snow and the hand is actually steaming. You're gonna see blistering, the skin's probably gonna be black. I love how they put the little M in there though, that's classic.
I hope the rest of his skin stays intact throughout this movie, which is doubtful because they're gonna need to like remove parts of his skin with this thing that looks like a cheese cutter, and then they're gonna need to graft it onto his hand.
My favorite part about this is that the one injury he has is a burn.
Kind of shocking that they also interestingly spared his eye. Can't imagine he wouldn't have a corneal burn or something like that after being hit in the face with a hot iron.
He looks great, and the burn looks very superficial, first degree, no problem. He'll be fine. Dan Stern, rough day.
Besides bleeding, I would suspect that a nerve damage would have happened at this point.
Anytime you step on something barefoot that's especially a metal object, you worry about tetanus.
Blowtorch to the scalp. Not just like a glancing blow, we're talking like flame to the head. We're talking second, third degree burns, blistering.
His hat has melted, the synthetics in his hat have melted to his hair and his head.
Probably would peel some of the layers of skin off. It might even expose some of the bone in that area.
And this is the piece de resistance. This is the one.
Heads up!
The face is screwed. We're talking ocular fractures, nasal fractures.
If you get a bleed in there, especially a fast bleed where it starts taking up space quicker, it pushes on the brain so that it stops functioning and leads to death.
Teeth are going to go flying if you get hit like this. We're talking fractured little teeth, you're gonna have like meth mouth. These guys are gonna look terrible.
They both need IQ tests is the main thing. Like, let's just rush them to the emergency room and do IQ tests on all of them.
Right in the middle of the chest. That sternum is cracked. That sternum is screwed. You can open up their aorta or their central veins and they can bleed to death like that.
If he did break it and it punctured a lung, then obviously he wouldn't be able to breathe. Kind of necessary for life.
I bet he's just gonna chase Macaulay Culkin a little bit more.
I love it how these guys have had like 10 head injuries so far and they're fine, and then this old dude hits them with a shovel and they're down like that.
I mean, it's still a masterpiece. It's really cinema magic is what it is.
Merry Christmas, Marv. Enjoy.